Hello and happy Sunday. Welcome to my story of frustration about my car insurance debacle, or actually getting reimbursed from MapFree, which was the insurance company that the driver of the Nattergy truck that hit me was insured by. So it's such a long story. I'm sorry to open with frustration, and I feel a little powerless and a little bit pissed. So if you don't want to hear this part, just skip ahead because there's a nice wine fest toward the end of the video. But I did want to share some of the realities of living in Panama and what can happen. Doesn't mean this happens all the time, but it happened to me. So I got hit by a Nattergy truck in October of 2023. My broker at the time was completely incompetent, but she was a friend of mine, and so I think I just kept giving chances and benefit of the doubt and more chances. And it became evident months into my not having my car and not having any direction on what to do or what the process was, that I needed to find other help because nothing was being told to me. So let's call this person Laura, who I went through to help me just communicate. She was basically going to be the communication between me and MapFree to settle my claim. She connected me with a garage in La Chorrera that would fix my car. I want to say that one misunderstanding that I had assumed that that was like a garage that was going to inspect my car inside and out to look for the damages caused by the accident. So anything that would be under the hood and the body. But it turns out it was only body work. And now, all these months later, I'm hearing rattling noises. My windshield washer fluid container was busted, and so I have to find a replacement, and then I want the mechanic to look at the car and determine what is all this rattling that I'm hearing when I'm driving. So that's already proving a little time consuming. It's taken like 2.5 weeks, and I don't even have an answer from the mechanic as to whether he can find that receptacle for the windshield washer fluid. And I wanted to bring my car to him and have that replaced and have him look everything over before March, mid-March. I have family coming to visit. I'll see how that goes. Anyway, to get back to the original story, this woman at MapFree, her name was Liz Rodriguez, and I emailed her to say that Laura was going to be taking over all communications and that my original broker was not authorized to handle anything regarding my claim going forward. You know, it was a very like official email. And I copied, Laura, and I copied the former broker. And then Laura went into the city to the MapFree office to get the process started and get the paperwork, and was told that, no, we can't hand over information to you because we have to have a physically signed letter by Patty in order to do that. Never once had I heard that from Liz Rodriguez. She never emailed me back. She hardly ever emailed me back, actually. But she never specifically said, okay, well, the process to do that is this. You have to write a letter, sign it, state, X, Y, and Z in the letter, and then, we'll hand over the file. So this is important as far as like the time that things take. At the end of the story, you'll know why. I write a letter and I send it Uno Express to Laura, who then brings it to the city the next time, she's going to the city so that she can get the file and get things started. So then I think it comes time that, first I wanted to say that Liz never offered to have one of their approved garages or an adjuster come look at my car, or for me to bring my car to one of their, approved places to get an estimate or to have the work done. That was never offered to my knowledge. So I went ahead and got the work done because Laura advised me that no, you just get the work done and then you save the receipts and submit them to to MapFree, and you'll get reimbursed minus some depreciation. So I got the car fixed, I got my car back, it looked beautiful, and then Laura went ahead and submitted the receipts, and then time went by. More time goes by, and Laura's trying to follow up with them and not getting much of a response. Oh, it's in review. So this is more time that's going by. So finally, I think I emailed Liz Rodriguez to ask like an update on the claim, and she wrote back and said, we don't have a file. Do you have a claim number? So after all that time, she's now saying that she doesn't even have a claim. And I forwarded that to Laura, and then they straightened that out. But again, that's more time, right? A few more weeks that go by, because nothing happens in a day at all. I mean, you're lucky if something can happen in a day. So finally, they send me an email offer. I get an email from MapFree, and the reimbursement offer is for $1,669. But I had paid cash over $2,600, and I didn't feel that that was fair at all. I didn't see how any depreciation calculation could really come up with that much of a difference. So I was pissed, and I let Laura know, like, look, this is ridiculous what they're offering. And then I found out that not all the receipts were submitted. And I was upset about that, but that should have been my responsibility to really keep on top of what Laura was submitting to Liz Rodriguez and to MapFree. I kind of took a more passive back seat, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have been a lot more involved in the process. So there was confusion that had to get straightened out, and then finally she was able to get the official receipt, because it has to be like an official receipt to submit to the insurance company. That took more time. And so that additional receipt for, I think it was either like $500 or $600, was submitted. And I think Laura and I assumed that the MapFree department would make an adjustment, do their depreciation on that amount, and then recalculate the reimbursement amount. And more time went by, and I think like 6 to 8 weeks, there was, no word. And then they told Laura that they weren't going to even consider that additional receipt, that the only amount that they were going to pay was the $1,669. And that really made me pissed, because that kind of seems like it should be illegal, or at least it's fraudulent. to not recalculate when somebody's giving you additional information. You need to take that information into account and make a recalculation. And there are ways that they can verify, these receipts, because somehow they're like official. I don't really know that whole process or part of it. And I checked with an attorney just to see, do I have any recourse, because this feels really shady to me. And the attorney said the insurance companies are the worst. They just know that they have the advantage. They take advantage of people. They do this all the time. It's awful, blah, blah, blah. So, at least I felt like it's not just me, but it's a pretty sad state of affairs that this just happens all the time. And Laura had said that also, and she deals with insurance companies quite frequently. Then Laura tells me that Liz Rodriguez says if I don't accept that amount, they're going to close the claim altogether, because after a year has gone by, and if they haven't settled it, they just wipe it off the books. So they force you into accepting whatever they want to offer. And they do this by stall tactics all throughout the year. So every time that it took weeks or months to get any communication from them, I think it's just all part of a stall tactic. And then to say, oh, we don't have a claim number, another stall tactic. To not answer any emails, to deny Laura to be able to even start the claim process, even though I'd emailed and, they didn't inform me of the proper process to do this. So finally, 2 days ago, I was just like, all right, fine. They win. Map free, you win. Liz Rodriguez, hope you're proud of yourself. You win. It feels really shady to me. It seems unethical, if not illegal. There is a governing body for insurance companies, and if I get my, stamina up to want to deal with that bureaucracy, I would probably file a complaint. But I'm not going to do that right now, because I've been dealing with this for 15 months. And that was, like over $2,600 that I really could have used in the past 15 months. I need that money back. And to not get all of it back, or at least not what I feel is an appropriate amount, is frustrating for sure. So apparently, now that I've, signed the document that says, yeah, just transfer the money, they have 8 business days to make the transfer. So we'll see if that happens. But I wanted to go over what I should have done, because that will hopefully help someone listening to not get taken advantage of, or at least not to the degree, that can happen. So the first thing is that I think I mentioned in a different video that, this insurance broker, my original broker, had been a friend. And so I gave her a lot of leeway and a lot of chances. She's busy, she's this, she's that. She's got, health issues. But consistently, the ball was dropped. There were never renewal notices. I could never figure out how to pay online through the portal. They never answered emails. Anyway, so I should have just cut ties, because, friendship and business, I don't know, keep it separate. At the time of the accident, I should have called the Panama helpline. I'm a member of the Panama helpline, but I think I was a fairly newer member, and it just didn't come to mind. I assumed that I could rely on this broker who was my friend. And that was a huge, huge mistake. So I should have called the Panama helpline. I was relying on that incompetent broker for like next steps. Like, what do I do? You know, it seemed like time was going by, but I wasn't given information like, well, what happens? Like, my car's just sitting here. Does somebody come to look at it, or do I go get it, you know, somewhere to get it looked at, or like what happens? And after like 2 or 3 months of not getting any guidance, that's when I went to Laura and decided to, you know, work with her to help me navigate, you know, the system. And then she mentioned you can get your car fixed and then submit the receipts. At that point, what I should have done was insist that MapFree send out an adjuster or have me bring the car to one of their approved garages to get an initial estimate. Because then I could have gone somewhere else and gotten another estimate and then decided, you know, where I was going to get the car actually repaired. Oh, and then I mentioned before, the other thing was that I assumed that where I was getting the car fixed was going to look, you know, inside and out and do like a comprehensive repair. And that wasn't the case. That was just the bodywork. And then the other thing that I should have done, I should have been more involved and reviewed all the receipts that Laura was submitting to MapFree, because I would have noticed that it was a different amount than what I had actually paid. So those are my hard lessons learned. Hopefully they're helpful for you. And hopefully I'll get that $1,669 back in my account shortly. And that's it. And then I'm just gonna, you know, have to deal with it. And I'm trying to just rationalize it by saying to myself, well, if I was still living in the States, I'd be paying far more for car insurance than I do here. So over the 5 years that I've had car insurance, I'm sure that would have amounted to $1,000 in the States. And that makes me feel a little better, but it's the fact of being like taken advantage of. That doesn't sit well with me at all. I really hate being like scammed or duped or taken advantage of. It gets the Irish up in me. Anyway, that'll go away in time, keep things in perspective, you know, all that good stuff. So enjoy the rest of the video. It's the Wine Fest, and I'm finally purging stuff and bringing things to the recycle center. These are some of the jars that I've been saving for craft projects. And even though I'm feeling so committed to getting rid of everything, I still look at this jar and I'm like, but that would make a great vase. But I've had the jar probably for 2 years and haven't made a vase. And so I tell myself, well, I can always buy this brand of sauce again if I'm actually ever going to make a vase. All right, this is progress. I've gotten all the stuff bagged and boxed up, and now it's actually in the car. So now the next step is just to bring it to recycling. Goodbye, potential craft projects. I brought everything to the recycling center. Sometimes in the past, I'd driven around with a lot of stuff in the trunk of my car, maybe for months before I would drop it off. Not this time. I dropped everything off. Next thing to purge are papers. Papers that I brought with me from California that I don't even need, but I just didn't have time to go through. Here we are at the Wine Fest. This was in the Paseo Rey Plaza. Different wineries came to do samplings. It was a $25 admission if you wanted to partake of the wine tasting. And then they had food stalls set up where vendors were selling food, and people came from Panama City. You can tell when there's people from Panama City in El Valle because they're a little more like stylish. First of all, I guess they're young. There's a lot of younger people that come, and a little more stylish and a hip crowd compared to the expats that live here. We're probably mostly over 50. I really appreciate how family friendly a lot of the events are that are in town. It just creates a nice, happy, casual environment. Pretty soon there's going to be a car show in the Paseo Plaza. I think they're going to have vintage cars, some motorcycles, and that's coming up at the end of February. So I'll be sure to check that out. That's something new. It seems like they're definitely trying to bring in more events into that Paseo Plaza, and they're doing a better job of promoting things on the El Valle Facebook community page. I had to find some shade. It's so bright and sunny out right now. It's middle of the day. But I wanted to say hi to Brenda, Jen, and Spence from Canada, who I ran into at the Ray here in El Valle. It was very nice to meet you. They were so cute. And I wanted to let you know, keep your eye out for the animal and bird video that's going to be coming. Right now I'm going to get out in the yard and do the garden update. I might actually wait until it's a little later in the day just because the sun is so blinding right now. And coming up in a few weeks, I think I'm going to be showing you these condos. So keep an eye out for the videos with these condos by the beach. I've got a couple in Coronado to show you and a couple in Ensenada. As always, thank you so very much for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you next week.